to AutoCAD 101. Today we're looking at the interface. This is the start screen. Anytime you open AutoCAD, this is typically what you'll see. It may automatically open a drawing, but if not, you'll be here. Start a new drawing for now. And this is the vanilla out-of-the-box setting for AutoCAD. Here we have the ribbon across the top of the screen. Has a lot of common tools that we'll be using later on. Insert, annotate, parametric. Start out, we're going to keep it on home. The menu browser you'll find up here under the A button. You can open new files, open saved drawings, save as, etc. You'll also find the options button here. If we look into the options, you have a lot of file settings, display settings, open and save, plot and publish. A lot of the drawing settings you can change from this window. Next we have the view cube. The view cube allows you to change your view on the go. If you're running in three-dimensional model, it lets you change your view around. You can get to any of the sides of your drawing very quickly. But since we're going to be running in 2D, we'll be sticking with the top view, also called the plan view. On the side, we have some more navigation settings, most of which we don't need to use at the moment. This will bring up the navigation wheel, which is just a few more navigation commands, which will stick to the cursor. You can see you have orbit, zoom, rewind, pan, but we don't need any of those right now. The pan command is available here. Allows you to pan around your drawing very quickly. As opposed to using that pan command though, you also by default have it set to your middle click button on your mouse. So by holding down the mouse wheel, you can pan the drawing. You can also, from your mouse wheel, if you roll back, zoom out. Let's just draw something here so it makes it easier to see what's happening. You can zoom out from your drawing with the mouse wheel and then zoom back in by mouse wheeling up. Delete that for now. The main drawing window is called the viewport. You'll see that referenced in several locations. On your layout tab later, when we'll talk about that as well, there's another type of viewport which lets you see from the layout tab to the model tab. We'll go to that in more depth later. Down at the bottom right of the screen, we have the status bar. This tells you model or paper space. It tells you which layout you're on. So layout you see is paper space. So this is no longer the model viewport, this is the paper space viewport. We are looking at paper space. And layout, all the layouts are paper space, which you can have multiple, you can only have one model, which is called model space. And the first option on this bar is the display grid mode, which is also toggleable with F7. And that's just the background grid, for the drawing grid in the background. It's nice to have that on, so I'll be leaving that on. You can turn it off if you like. And then we have snap mode, which will snap to certain increments depending on what the setting is. I believe it's by default set to half an inch. Yeah, half an inch, both on X and Y. and it's set to rectangular snap. You can change it to polar snap, which changes it to so it'll snap to a polar distance. So it'll go, say, half an inch in any direction anytime you click. And those are for drawing. It doesn't really do anything when we're just on our own, unless we're trying to pick a grip, which we'll get into further later. And then we have ortho mode, which is F8. Can be toggled with F8. That's a specific drawing tool. It helps you draw in straight lines perpendicular or parallel to the X and Y axes. So you can, for example, with orthographic on, I can only draw straight lines. And then we have polar tracking, isometric drafting, some other options. We're not going to use much of these for now. We may go over that in a later series. Next, my favorite is the command prompt. Anytime you're typing in a command to AutoCAD, so let's start with text, is one that I like. The command prompt tells you when you're in a command, it tells you if there are more options inside the command, and it tells you what settings are current. So current text style is standard. The text height is 0.2 inches. I have my drawing set to imperial units, which is what we use in the United States. And that's inches and feet. And annotative is no, justify left. So when I pick a spot, it's going to start typing out from the left. Oops, I need to put in the height first. By default, it's 2. That'll work. No rotation. And you can see the justification point is on the left side. And you can say every time it regenerates the model, or when you do something, a command, it tells you here. And we can pull that up higher to see more of what's going on if you want to keep that open. Otherwise, by default, it'll tell you briefly and then disappear with this little box that pops up. And many of these toolbars you can move around. So if you want to dock this, snap it up to the top, you can do that. If you want to keep it as a free movable window, you can do that as well. I tend to have it either sitting on the bottom line or docked, which would be like that. And as I said, you can open that view up if you like to keep. The only trouble with doing things like this is you lose some of your drawing space. So if we keep that undocked, it's just a little bit cleaner. And I think that should be it. Thanks for watching and good luck.